Hey gang, so today I've got something pretty different for me at least. Wooden sliders from Fidget Duck EDC. He makes all of these by hand, one at a time. Takes him like a couple of weeks to make one. He was kind enough to loan me these, which are actually currently being sold on his site. So I will not be keeping these. These are going to go to somebody out there, maybe one of you if you like them. So anyways, I'm going to share my thoughts. We'll take a look at these, see how they're made, see what goes into them. I even have a little bit of footage of his shop. All right, let's go. Okay, so here we have wooden fidgets by Fidget Duck EDC. Now, these are interesting because they're all unique, right? Each one of these is handmade. They take about 2 weeks to build. I know between like the sanding, the carving, the finishing, the waiting for the polish to set. So when you get one of these, you are getting a 100% custom slider. There's only one. You will never see another one like it. Now, there are some cases where the finishes aren't as good as others. I'll point to this one. This is sort of the first one that comes to mind. However, this was mentioned. So Fidget Duck. I'm going to call him Fidget Duck because I don't know if he wants to be named. So let's just go with Fidget Duck. So the one thing he was very specific about is that this was a tester. This is a test. So because it's kind of big, it's kind of brutal, but the way the magnet is sitting, it's a much larger magnet in the center, I believe, or at least I know it's like a one-click. And he put these beads on. Now, these beads are a test. These are obviously not what a finish would be. I mean, everything is kind of out, you know, it's not in line. We've got sort of subtle little tiny cracks and glue and stuff. So he was telling me this is just a tester. But what the test was the texture of the beads and how that might help grip. And I have to say, with these, regardless of the look of any of them in terms of finish, they all feel really good in the hand, which was surprising to me because they're, you know, they look kind of simple. When you see them, there's not, you know, these are all kind of, it's like creativity chaos in a way, right? Like he's just kind of adding things, trying things. Again, each one is kind of unique. This one might have glitter on it. This one just has kind of burnt in ends for the grooves. I think it's burnt in or it's paint. You know, this is like two-tone. I think these are all bamboo. So you get these, I mean, these are pretty wacky in some ways. And because of that, though, you are getting a very unique thing. So these are not, let's be very clear, these are not for somebody that wants a precision made, you know, magnets or wrapped or whatever, like any of your sort of like your normal metal sliders, the typical ones. That's not what these are. These are more artisan, I would call them artisan sliders, because this is somebody making these by hand and he is designing these with his own vision. So as far as the looks go, you take it or leave it, like it, you love it, hate it. I'm sure these are going to be, there are going to be people out there that don't like these at all because of the look and because of how it's kind of all over the place in terms of the stylings. And then there are going to be people who really kind of love the down-to-earth kind of, you know, very woodsy. I mean, I say woodsy, that sounds ridiculous, but you know what I mean? Like very nature style sliders. And I know there are some people that definitely are closer to nature than others. And so something like this, all I can say is there's a very peaceful feeling when using one of these. And I think everybody should have one of these in their collection. I really do. Again, unless you know for a fact that you are a strict kind of precision type person that loves sliders that are made out of metal and very well designed and very specific, then these aren't for you. However, if you like different things and Do you like having a range of styles in your collection? I really would recommend putting one of these in it, because this feels like absolutely nothing else that I own. The only other thing I can come close to is that I know there's somebody out there that makes leather sliders. So that would be kind of interesting. I believe he's in the UK. So that's another one where it would be a very different kind of texture to it. So, okay, let's, I'm going to move because it gets a little like rowdy when they're all stuck together. So let's get this. So this guy, we know this is the tester. This isn't even being sold. And again, it does not look the best with these beads. These are very rough. However, I think as he refines his technique, if he can find a way to put these in clean, to have these aligned somewhat, then I think there is something very interesting about the grip with the beads. Again, these are, you know, you've probably heard me, if you know the channel, you've heard me talk about this before. I would qualify these as chaos sliders because they kind of just, you know, you mash them. Wow, that's loud. You do mash them around. So that's what these are. And something this big, you kind of, the beads help the grip because you do get this extra kind of grip on both sides. So if he can refine this, refine the look of it, the style, the design, come up with something that works in terms of a textured top and bottom, I think this would actually be a pretty good slider as well. Now, the one thing I will point out, and Fidget Duck has pointed out, that all of these have slide tape, because without slide tape, they're wood on wood. I would say my complaint about these is that the tape tends to go over the edges. So I'd like to see that more refined, like a better cut, so that when you're using them, you don't actually, because you shouldn't feel the tape on your finger when you're pushing them in. So that's something that if you were to get one of these, you might want to, you know, peel off the tape, put on your own, maybe cut it a little smaller, or just lift the lips up on this one and kind of cut around the edges. Okay, we're going to put this one aside. So let's go. These are kind of like the basic sizes that he uses. And again, these, they're very organic, right? Because they're made out of bamboo, they're wood. Like these things weigh less than an ounce, I think around an ounce. So they're not heavy sliders, very light. 3-click, loud click, but you can also make them like really quiet if you want. Like if you know, workplace, sitting on the couch, you know, in a busy mall or something, like you don't have to have that loud, snappy click. This other one. So this is, what is this? This is another 3-click. So if you like wood, you know, these are really interesting. And I know some people will kind of, it's not their, we'll call it not their cup of tea. And I completely get it. Again, this is kind of a rougher look. However, this is something you might find at like a craft fair or something, where you go to one of the tables and this person's just a woodworker and they make these wooden fidgets. In that environment, these would be awesome, right? It's hard to put something like that up to a Magnus and compare them, because, you know, the precision, the detailing of a Magnus versus something like this, it's much more organic and free. So I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's fair to really put these in the same category or compare them against sort of like the regular titanium, Zerk, whatever sliders, because they're not that category at all. These have to be judged almost within their own category. So maybe it's a category of organic sliders, and that's, you know, does that exist yet? Probably not, but maybe it should. So I would definitely, like, see, like this one is super quiet. So when you order from Fidget Duck, he also lets you know, like, which ones are, you know, is it quiet? Is it loud? Is it snappy? These, by the way, are all for sale. All of these are on his, I believe, on Instagram and on eBay. So you would get these, you go to his Instagram page, which I will link. Where am I going to link? Boom, here. So you can go there, you can reach out to him, you can talk to him through the Instagram page, and then I think he also has a couple of these on eBay as well. But yeah, these are for sale. These are not mine. These are going back. And they're just really cool, and they're different. You know, in a world full of metal and plastic, it's kind of nice to have organic too. And the magnets, these are still like N52 magnets. So they're strong, man. Like, these are strong magnets. Like, I mean, can you ladder? Yeah. Like, you can ladder. It's a little different laddering with them, but you can. Like, you know, I think the first one, like when you pop out your ladder, first one drops well, and then the second one gets a little harder to drop, but I'm also holding this at a weird angle for the camera. So yes, you can ladder with these. It just takes a little bit more care. All right. This one's feels a bit wider. So again, they all kind of have, and that's sort of what I like about them. Like, I'm really kind of coming around to these. When I first saw these, I wasn't sure. I'm not a messy guy. Like, I'm not somebody that goes for something that isn't precise, that isn't crafted. Like I said, like sort of stylish and metal, and, you know, I don't even like PEI very much. But I am coming around to these. I held these in my hand last night. Again, I do the couch test, right? Like, can I work with these and use these and not even pay attention? And honestly, like, I think we're watching Love is Blind, the new season of Love is Blind. And sometimes I did this. I had them all. Like, I would just kind of like let them all connect together. So I had this sort of this pile, and they felt good. I'm going to stand behind this, that after, if you know all the caveats, again, these are all, like I said, tape can be an issue on these. So you really have to, I would like to see Fidget Duck get a bit better in cutting these corners away to make sure there aren't any. So maybe it's a little bit rounded when the tape goes on. So just that kind of thing, because they sort of stick out from the edges. So you do catch it. That I'd like to see fixed, but that's an easy fix, right? Like, you can even just, I know people, we take the tape off and put our own tape on all the time anyways. And again, you're getting like a one of a kind, from somebody who crafts these in his house. Like, he literally takes bamboo and builds it. So speaking of which, I, for the first time, got a tiny bit of footage from someone's workshop. So let's go see it right now. So this is, I mean, that's pretty amazing. But this is just literally...
This is what you coat it with. Yeah. That's a protective coat.
And this is just, you're just chopping them out of here.
These are ones I'm making the bigger one, but I haven't finished them yet, but...
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So what do you do? Like, you just sort of glue them together, you clamp them together once you put the magnets in?
Well, you get a bunch of magnets. Drill holes, or for a place, you sand down a place till you get the magnet strength you want. You put that for plates right there.
So, wow. So, what are you working on right now? Like, these ones are ones you're working on right now?
There's another 4-clicker like the purple one.
Wow. And this is a work in progress.
Yeah. So you can't use it right now. The magnets are too strong, but you have to put a plate on it. And then you got to shape it on a sander over there until you get the shape you want.
So you're just sort of using that to shape it up.
And this rotary tool.
Yeah, that's cool. So that was a little glimpse into how these are made, where they're made, what he does. So you know that every one of these is literally just a guy carving them by hand, adding little details by hand, sanding them, coating them, everything. So when you get one, you are 100% getting a one-of-a-kind slider from, you know, someone who's a bit of a craftsman who's making these, but makes them in his own way. And they're sort of beautiful in a way. Like, you could put this on a coffee table. You could put this in your living room beside a plant or something, like on a table, and it just kind of blends in. And they're really, really light. But in terms of size, like, it's the same. Like, this is a Magna Stimple, right? Like, wait, do we dare try? I love doing hybrids. What happens with this hybrid? Well, I mean, it kind of works. Oof. I mean, I wouldn't do that too often, but it does work. It's kind of crazy. Anyways, let's get back to it. We're not looking at magnets. We're looking at Fidget Duck. So that's it, gang. These are actually pretty cool. I'm going to put the link below. I was surprised by how much I eventually liked these compared to what my thought was coming into them. And I think, like I said, I think people should have at least one of these or something like it, something organic in your collection so that you can switch every once in a while. We can drop the plastic, drop the metal, and just pick up, you know, it feels good picking up a little block of wood, something that's polished and smooth. It just feels good in your hand. So it's a bit of a reset. So I would recommend people get one of these. I really would. And you know that whatever you're going to get is going to be completely different than what someone else gets. All right, gang. I'll put all the links below, and please go check out Fidget Duck. And thanks for watching. The fuck? Come on. Get out of there.